On today's episode of Andy and Ari on 3 presented by BetMGM, we use those BetMGM lines to pick the games against the spread for week 4. I had a great week last week. Ari needs to stage a massive comeback, but there are plenty of opportunities this week. Texas Tech, Utah, Auburn, Oklahoma, Florida, Miami, Illinois, Indiana. This is going to be an incredible week of college football. We're going to talk through all these games. We're going to pick them, decide whether you want to follow me, whether you want to fade me, whether you want to follow Ari, fade Ari. Here we go. We've teamed up with BetMGM this season. We will be using BetMGM lines to make all our picks, and we'll have special offers for our listeners each week. When you join BetMGM, you'll get access to a variety of parlay selection features like same-game parlays, live betting options, and more. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use the bonus code CFB, as in college football, CFB, and you will get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how that works. Download the BetMGM app and sign up using the bonus code CFB. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game. You'll receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure you use the bonus code CFB when you sign up. Make this college football season one for the history books. Make it legendary. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. U.S. promotional offers are not available in New York, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER in the U.S. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 in New York. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP in Arizona. Call 1-800-327-5050 in Massachusetts. Call 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa or 1-800-981-0023 in Puerto Rico. First bet offer for new customers only, subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Don't forget, if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use the bonus code CFB and get your $1,500 first bet offer today. Welcome to Andy and Ari on 3 presented by BetMGM. It is time to pick some games, and holy crap, what a slate we've got. We got some big Big Ten games, Michigan going to Nebraska, Illinois going to Indiana. We got some big SEC games, Auburn going to Oklahoma, South Carolina going to Missouri. We got some big Big 12 games, Texas Tech going to Utah. We got Arizona State going to Baylor. Ari, it is going to be a magical week. Well, you need a magical week.
Yeah. So I was in the middle of watching one of the big games on Saturday, and I even tweeted at you. It was the Tennessee-Georgia game. And I said, how amazing is it that you and I get to watch this game with everybody else for work? And it's like, I was thankful. And I bring that up because there aren't a lot of days in my life that I dread. This show was one of them. Not doing it. The beginning of it. I've had a remarkably awful 2-week stretch. And paying off debts was less painful than, publicly having to be shamed for it. But man, I've been off to a really rough start. I still think that I'm going to, find my leg here and get going. And I'm still fairly confident that I'm going to beat you in the entire season, but I am way behind you. And that's going to be, I'm going to have to go really, really good, or hope for you to have some bad weeks, because
it's a long season. But so last week I went 6-3 against the spread. Ari went 1-8. So I am now 17-12-1 for the season against the spread. Ari is 10-19-1. And I got caught by the hook with Georgia, but I think you did too, right?
Don't complain to me about bad beats right now. I don't want to hear about that.
I know. I was laughing when Georgia scored the touchdown in overtime. I was like, Kirby kicks the extra point anyway. Come on.
I think I had Tennessee money line. It's like, that looks like a loss, and it is a loss. I had to pay the debt for it. The idea, I feel like pretty good about the idea, it
was a great idea because if they make that kick, you're in there.
Oregon minus 27.5 was a trap that I willingly put my foot in, knowing that it was the largest handle at BetMGM. and Oregon was winning 31-0 in the fourth quarter and had the ball inside the 10-yard line. Brought their backup quarterback in, kicked the field goal.
This is for real. Like, we didn't even pick that game.
Oh, that isn't one of these? Yeah, that was just my existence on Saturday.
I'll be honest with you, Ari. I wanted no part of the Oregon Northwestern game. I was very glad we didn't put that on there.
I'm kind of bitter about it because in the middle of the game, the live line was 37.5, and I knew that it was a trap the entire time. And I was like, you know what? Well, they finally got there. Northwestern can't score, and I should have known better. And I should have done the middle there. But there were some pretty interesting results. And let me just say, first off, too, we began the offseason. We had some pretty bad takes. If you watched our Saturday show, you and I both had to publicly apologize for some of the quarterback takes. I know maybe my Miami take, you were a little bit higher on Miami than I was, has turned out to be bad. But there's one take.
It's not high enough, though.
Yeah.
As it turns out,
that you and I both had that's actually true. And that is that this was going to be the most entertaining college football season that we had in recent memory. And I think we're shaping up for that. And I don't know.
Well, I agree with you because I put out the projected playoff, and that graphic went out from the On3 social accounts yesterday. And I noticed today, and I really don't want to harp on somebody who had a really nice thing to say and an earnest thing to say, but they said underneath that, this feels like we can actually guess at these now, that we have enough information to really know who should be in these spots. And I'm like, no, we don't.
Like, somebody
we definitely don't.
You're throwing darts for the first 6 weeks, probably, right? Like week 7's when you can start really feeling good about things. It's like Texas Tech is your number 11. We don't know anything about how the Big 12 is going to pan out. In fact, that's going to be one of the games we talk about today and might go a long way in determining who's number 11 next week. And I know I'm not the one doing it. I used to do Bubble Watch with you every week. I'm not doing Bubble Watch anymore because it's the same thing. But I'm assuming that your graphics are changing drastically week over week. Like A&M probably wasn't in there last week.
A&M was not in there. Georgia Tech was not in there. I put Texas Tech in there because Iowa State struggled with Arkansas State, but also Utah could just hop in there if they beat Texas Tech this week. It's nobody knows anything. I got A&M in there. I got Oklahoma in there. I have Auburn just out. Look, if Auburn beats Oklahoma, they're going to be in this thing next week.
Yeah, right. And if Illinois loses to Indiana, then you have a new logo maybe on the first.
I will bet right now I put the winner of the Illinois-Indiana game in there next week.
A big game. So you know what I was thinking of? So today I wrote a thoughts piece on On3, and it's free for you to go read right now. And it's 20 overarching thoughts that I have from the weekend. Andy, I don't know if you have a chance to go read them, but one of the things that occurred to me today, and this is outside of the gambling and the putrid week I just had, but you and I talk about college football in a public forum, probably close to 10 hours a week between tweets and our shows and guest appearances on other people's shows. Like, we are speaking about college football in a public manner constantly. And like, somebody tweeted at me today and it irked me, and I don't know why. He goes, "So when are you going to apologize for saying that Ohio State losing Seth McLaughlin was a big deal?" And I was like, do you
remember saying that?
But I did. Yeah, it was a big deal. When Ohio State lost their starting center after they were incapable of getting a first down against Nebraska after losing their tackle, I thought it was a big deal. And like, what is the proper conversion rate? Like, what's an acceptable conversion rate when you think about how many takes you and I have? How many takes do you think you and I have in a off season? Is it 1,000?
I will take 50.1%.
Like,
I can live with that.
If you go back and like watch every single show that we did for the past year, there are things that are going to be true and there are things that are going to be not true. But I don't think there's a great enough appreciation for how hard it is to project this game forward. And I don't think there's an appreciation for how much our jobs have shifted from reporting on what happened to being like the arbiters of the future. Like, it's like the hardest thing to do in the world. And if I can get 50% of my things that I say correctly, while 100% of my takes are based on the information that I have at hand, I can't predict what remarkable thing is going to happen in the future. So,
and thank God for that, because that would be really boring.
I wish I could. I really do. My life would be very different. But I I had shit picks the last 2 weeks because I started off 8-4, didn't I? Like that was my. So
You
like,
did.
Think about how bad. It's been.
Listen, I have faith in you to come back, and I have faith in me to have a god awful week at some point. So
Didn't you
don't
have a few
worry.
1-8 last week? I think you did last year. I don't know.
I had an 0-for-8 graphic one time. We actually picked 13 games that week, and I think I got 3 of them right. But the ones we put on the graphic, we picked 8 to put on the graphic, and I missed them all.
The hardest thing, Andy, about this is that there's a difference between a winning gambling pick, and we have gambling experts come on the show to give you those picks because I don't purport myself to be a gambling expert. We give ourselves the analysis of the games that we know, but obviously gambling is deeper than what we know about the teams. But I also feel like idea-wise, you can still have a bad record, in my opinion, and give out good ideas. Like I was blatantly wrong about Clemson, like hands up, right? But was I? We
both missed that.
Was I blatantly wrong about Tennessee?
No, we weren't wrong about Tennessee. And the thing is, like, there was a universe where I was going to be wrong about Arkansas, and it just so happened that the way the end of that game played out, they ended up losing by 6. So I covered.
Yeah, but am
another field goal from Ole Miss, and I don't.
You laid the 9.5 in the Florida game, and the quarterback on Florida threw 5 interceptions, and they lost by 10. So, like, was I wrong about Florida? Like, I don't know. I'll let the listener decide that. But
this was going to be like that Florida spread. Florida Miami is a really interesting spread because it's a lot lower number than I thought it was going to be.
All right. Well, why don't we just get into it?
But first, before we get into the picks, I want to let you guys know the coaching carousel is open already spinning. UCLA fired Deshaun Foster on Sunday. Virginia Tech fired Brent Pry on Sunday. If you want a deeper analysis of that, you want to know who the candidates might be, I put out videos on Sunday for both of those. So check the On3 Sports YouTube channel. You've got a UCLA breakdown. I talk about, hey, maybe the AD Martin Jarman had his keys taken away in this situation. I don't think he's going to be the one making most of the decisions for this next hire. I threw out some candidates. One other one that I thought was interesting that I saw from someone else is our friend Bruce Feldman at The Athletic. He pointed out Dave Aranda from Baylor as a potential candidate for UCLA. And this is not a which job is better situation. It's a maybe that job fits him better and he'd probably like to live in LA more because he's a West Coast guy. And the other name that I saw in some other places that I didn't mention in that video that I think probably should be mentioned is Spencer Danielson from Boise State, San Diego guy, West Coast dude, been on the West Coast his entire career. So that's another possibility, but we'll see. Again, for Virginia Tech and for UCLA, I know they've already picked their interim coaches. Like UCLA's got Tim Skipper, who I think will do fine as an interim coach. I still don't understand why people don't call Coach O in this situation. Just call Coach O. Hey, Coach O, come finish the season for us. Yeah. Like UCLA, they should call Coach O to finish the season. And if he does well, just hire him.
The most interesting thing about the UCLA job, more than anything, to me, isn't that Foster was fired, because like that was it was apparently, I didn't know it was going to happen 2 days later, but on Friday night we knew that was over. You cannot get blown out by New Mexico at home. I mean, period.
No, but you can't get blown out by Old Dominion at home. That's why both those firings happened when they did.
With UCLA specifically, though, their stadium is empty.
Mm-hmm.
They don't really seem to have a ton of NIL support. They play in a conference where other programs are far more committed to winning at football than they are. I don't know administratively if they're all that fired up about football at UCLA. And isn't there like sports department running on a deficit? Like, yes. I don't know. Like, if you're a coach who wants to be successful, I don't even know if you can take UCLA. Like, there are somebody will take it.
It's not a great setup. I think, honestly, other than my Coach O idea, which they should consider, they're probably going to have to hire a coordinator who isn't a sought-after name necessarily for these huge jobs, because and hope they get lucky. Hope they get lucky and they find the next great head coach, because the guys who've been head coaches who fit that profile aren't even going to consider this job.
I do think it is one other thing too. Isn't Nico Iamaleava like technically allowed to enter the portal now?
Yes. And how funny would that be?
I would do it if I were him. Why would you stay there?
I mean, where would you go?
By playing the rest of your games there?
I don't. But who's going to want him?
I don't know.
Like where he would want to go.
Here's what I do think. Nico is not as bad as his tape shows this year. And I don't know. And I know that like Tennessee,
he is what his tape showed at Tennessee. And Joey Aguilar is making that look real bad.
That is true. I think that his tape at Tennessee, though, is enough for him to get a starting job somewhere that gives him a better chance to succeed. Like he's in a unwinnable situation right now. And like, I don't know.
Literally, they might not win a game.
Like if I were him, like you might have to sacrifice your NIL now and go try to find a place that can get you into the NFL. Because if he stays there and this is what we get for the next 2 years, he's not going to get drafted. So like he's not, this isn't just like, is he better off or he's clearly worse off having left Tennessee. But now like his whole like redemption arc of like, well, I'll make less money now, but I'll still put out good tape at UCLA. I'll be an entertaining story to watch on the West Coast, and I'll still get drafted in the first or second day of the NFL draft and make my money there. Like that plan is gone. Like it's an unbelievably bad product right now. And I don't know how much of it is his fault. And I know that people like to, dance and celebrate if you're a Tennessee fan at how much he's failing, but it's like actually sad to like watch. Like, I don't find it funny at all.
And like, also remember, he probably didn't make these decisions. And we've talked a lot about his camp on this show. And I stand by everything we said.
Yep. So
I stand by everything Pete Nakos reported. Those people have made themselves look incredibly stupid every step of the way, and nothing has changed. All right. We got to do picks, Ari.
Unfortunately.
Before that, though, I want to tell you about Academy Sports and Outdoors. This is where you need to go for all of your tailgate needs, all of your sports needs. You got kids playing sports. You had to hit up Academy for, I don't know. I got to buy mouthpieces. I got to buy girdles, football girdles. So huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here, and nobody gets SEC fans ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find grills, jerseys, and more. Fun can't lose, and neither can you with tailgate gear from Academy. Academy Sports and Outdoors is the official sporting goods and outdoor retailer of the SEC, but you don't have to be a fan of an SEC school to love Academy. You just need to go and get your grills, get your coolers, get your jerseys, get your cleats, get your bats, get your gloves, get it all at Academy Sports and Outdoors. Visit academy.com. Ari, we'll start where they're going to be little kegs and eggs tailgating. Not in the SEC. Big 12. Big noon in the Big 12, where it's 10 a.m. local in Salt Lake City for Texas Tech at Utah. Utah is a 3.5-point favorite. Of course, they're a 3.5-point favorite. This is the coin. This is the 3.5 plus and minus coin that we needed to mint for the Big 12, but we still haven't got around to it.
Yeah. So this is great. This is a great game. It's
amazing.
Great game. And I think that this is the week where like Utah takes come home to roost. And I'm very interesting. Does come home to roost have a negative connotation?
Yes. Come home to roost usually has a negative connotation, but it's not just the Utah takes. It's also the Texas Tech takes, because if we're going to pick two teams that people said, okay, this is a team that did not really compete for the Big 12 title last year that we think will win the Big 12 title this year, it's either Utah or Texas Tech.
Yeah, I just meant like we're going to figure it out right now. Like these are the two.
Well, we're not, because what if they play a 1-point game that gets decided on a weird call? Like we won't figure anything out if that happens.
Yeah, that's true. It's also the Big 12, so we don't know anything about the Big 12 ever. But like, I think that I'm very interested in your pick here, because I know beyond the shadow of a doubt where I'm going.
Really?
I know what I'm taking. I gave it away. I'm going to take 3.5 points. This seems to me like a coin flip, and I'm going to take the 3.5. But like Texas,
you're going Texas Tech.
Yeah, but I'm curious because your prediction in the offseason was that Utah would play for the Big 12 championship, and I know that they could still technically do that even if they lost on
but the other team I thought they'd be playing is probably Texas Tech.
So it sounds like you have a lot of emotional baggage to unpack here. Devin Dampier is really exciting. Utah's got two of the best offensive linemen in the country. They play good defense. Their coach is as consistent as ever. Texas Tech bought a roster that should have better players across the board. And Texas Tech, by the way, not sure how much people have been paying attention, have kicked the crap out of every single team they've played so far. And I like
Utah, but and it's funny because we're like, oh, one of those is a power conference team, but that's UCLA, and we kind of have to reevaluate that after the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, Utah had a pretty ugly game for a long time. In one of the rare bets I hit in real life this week was the under of the Wyoming game. I think it was like 9-3 or 6-3 at halftime. Like they are off.
It took them a while to pull away. Yes,
once they figured it out, they pulled away. And like, listen, you can't overreact on clunker games. Ohio State was beating Ohio 13-3 at halftime. I think obviously Texas had a rough day on set. I don't know how much you take away from some of these games. Wasn't Penn State struggling with Villanova for a while before they got – that was the worst bad beat I've ever seen, by the way. I don't know if you saw that. Penn State was like a 45-point favorite, and they were winning. And you saw that one-handed circus catch in the back of the end zone with 0 seconds. That was – oh, God. I didn't have that, thank God, but that would have pushed me to my end. Can I just say, like, frankly, and maybe it'll just be another loss. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I'm taking 3.5 because it's a safety mechanism. I don't know. Is Texas Tech great? Is Utah the team this year? I don't know. Is that bad podcasting?
No, because I don't think telling the truth is ever bad. And that is the truth. The truth is this is a conference that we can't predict. These are two teams that are very different than they were last year, who've not played anybody of consequence yet. They've won decisively in every game they've played, but they haven't played anybody of consequence because UCLA turned out to not be of consequence. So, I mean, think about this. And I think this comes down to Utah's offensive line led by Spencer Furneaux and Caleb Lomu, the two tackles who are probably big-time NFL draft prospects. Furneaux is probably a first-rounder. Lomu is moving up the boards. Texas Tech, David Bailey, one of the best pass rushers in the country. Romello Height, Lee Hunter on the inside. Can Utah enforce its will against that group? I don't know. That's where this game is probably going to be won or lost. And this is what Texas Tech paid for, because most Big 12 teams don't have that level of talent on the D-line. Most Big 12 teams don't have Utah's level of talent on the O-line.
And this is the one thing that I'm hitting a snag at, because it's very easy to say Devin Dampier is a magician and he's really fun to watch. Those things are all very true. But if Utah cannot bully Texas Tech up front and they cannot run the ball down their throat, are they going to be able to pass well enough to win this game? And that, I'm not saying they can't, but that would be my question. And I have that question.
But here's my question, Ari, because Texas Tech's edge guys, they're very good at rushing the passer. How good are they when a first-round offensive tackle is trying to grab them and move them out of the way in the run game? Because that is what will determine who wins.
Not as good as they are the first 3 weeks, that's for sure. Spencer Furneaux, he's got the goods, man. All I can say about this is that I cannot wait to watch it. This is like a point. If you are a college football person, this game is not for casuals. This game is not for people who don't love college football. This game is for us. Like this is college football.
I'm glad this is the big noon game. I'm glad they're shining the spotlight on this thing. Because
they should.
It's going to be so cool. It really, because since Texas Tech started this roster rebuild, this is all I've wanted to see. is them against one of the better teams in the Big 12. What does that look like?
Yeah. And there are like some teams at the bottom half of the AP poll this week, Andy, like Vanderbilt and Georgia Tech and Texas Tech and Utah, which are like all teams that are ranked in that vicinity because the AP poll voters don't know where to put them.
Yeah.
Like, because it's like, what do you do with Georgia Tech? We weren't expecting this from Georgia Tech, and now they're good. Like, do you put them at 9? Look at the 17, 18, 19, 20, and 16. Like 16 through 20 are all.
I would argue that Indiana, Missouri, USC also kind of in the same boat. Like, they could be really good. Like, those could all be playoff teams.
I do think it is interesting.
I have no idea.
And I'm even guilty of it myself, but like Illinois is ranked number 9, and they would probably be in the we don't know what to do with you category. And then there's like glob of 5 teams between 16 and 20 that are like in the same boat of like, you know, the only one that's really highly ranked that hasn't had to prove anything yet is Illinois, while Georgia Tech and Vanderbilt have better wins than Illinois does. And they're like,
now Illinois thought it was proving something against Duke, but it turns out Duke might not be good.
Yeah.
So this is going to be fascinating. So the other part of this, it is the big noon game, but it's in Salt Lake City. So it's the big 10 a.m. game. This is a sleepy start for both these teams. Now, obviously, Texas Tech is a Central Time Zone team, but it's not going to be that different for them. Like, this is an early start for everybody involved. So I don't know if that affects anything. I think it'll definitely affect the fans in Salt Lake City because you don't get that much time to get truly lathered up before a 10 a.m. kickoff. But I'm so excited for this. Ari, it's a coin flip for me too. It is. So I don't have the coin minted yet. I'm going to mint the coin, but I'm flipping it in my mind, and I'm saying heads Texas Tech, tails Utah. It's tails. I will take Utah to cover.
Okay, good. I'm happy you're on I don't want you to be on any of the same sides as me. Like, I need to make a comeback here.
Or my lead will stretch further.
Yeah, that's true. I don't want to go into the weekend without the opportunity.
That's true. Okay, well, we're on the opposite sides of this one. Ari and I don't plan this beforehand, so I don't know if we're going to wind up on the same side of these things.
Yeah, every single time I make a pick, you can just agree with me just to make it impossible for me to. But like, that's not the fun of the game. You're going to go.
No, there's no fun in that. All right, what do we got next, Producer River? Arkansas at Memphis. If you watched Arkansas against Ole Miss, this offense is electrifying. If you watched Arkansas in its first 2 games, the offense was even more electrifying. They hung 50 burgers on both their opponents. Taylon Green is awesome. The question for me is this Memphis defense better than the Ole Miss defense? And I think the answer might be yes. Because remember, the Ole Miss defense the week before made Kentucky's offense look, I don't know, serviceable. So I think Arkansas will face its toughest test in terms of, can they keep moving the ball the way they have? Arkansas is averaging like 9 yards a play. They are destroying people. Memphis only gives up about 4 yards a play. So I think there's going to probably be some compression to the mean, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I'm looking at like advanced statistics behind the scenes here. And like I always do when I'm making the picks, they don't guide me, but Tyler Shoemaker has this as a 7-point spread. So like,
which is pretty
right
close.
On the number, and it's not a play.
Yeah.
So I think the question is did what you see from Taylon Green in Arkansas, is that fool's gold, or is Arkansas much better?
I think Arkansas is good on offense. Like what I think, but now they got shredded by Trinidad Chambliss in the Ole Miss offense. I don't know what to make of that either, because Trinidad Chambliss may be really good.
Yeah. So
I don't want to go in assuming that Memphis is just going to run up and down the field on them.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be is a lower scoring game than what we saw from Arkansas and Ole Miss last week. I still think Arkansas is going to win, but I will take 6.5 points. Like, you can give me 6.5 points and I will take it. So give me Memphis to cover in this one.
I was leaning towards Memphis too. I would have liked to get to 7, but I'm not going to depart from my viewpoints on Arkansas's defense. I think I'm going to take the points too, Andy.
All right. Well, we are on the same side of this one. It's okay. Don't worry. We'll disagree again. I know one thing we could also agree on, Ari, is our love for our friends at Panini.
Oh, yeah.
Want to rip a pack right now?
Yeah, please. Come on.
So the last pack we ripped on the show, by the way, I was going through it again. I realized I pulled a Quinn Ewers card. And the first thing I could think of when I walked past that card was Miss Me?
Yeah.
Miss Me?
I saw a lot of Texas tweets on Saturday of like pictures of Quinn Ewers and people saying this fan base didn't deserve you, number 3. Like,
all right, let's see what we got. We got Brian Branch, who was one of my favorites at Alabama, a very good Detroit Lion. Jonathan Taylor, excellent former Wisconsin running back. Never heard of this guy. Producer River, do you know who that is? He wore number 16 when he played for the Colts. Or excuse me, 18 when he played for the Colts, 16 when he played for the Vols. Peyton Manning. Another guy never heard of. Oh, this is a 1 of 1. Patrick Mahomes right here.
What?
So it is numbered. It is numbered 1 of 1.
You just hit a 1 of 1 Mahomes?
I did. 1 of 1.
Dude, step up and put it towards the camera, please. And be careful with it.
Hold on. I got to get some light on it.
Buddy, put that down very gently and go get a top loader.
Okay. I got the top loaders are on my desk. I will get it top loaded as soon as
Yeah, just put that down.
Okay.
We're gonna get accused of like you just hit a 101 Mahomes.
Yeah, I did.
That's a nuke. Yeah, just what the hell, Panini? Send me that box.
Got a numbered Luther Burden right here. How about this? Numbered autographed Dexter Manley. I remember Dexter Manley playing. This is really cool. See, that's the thing. Ari is going on, Ari is deeply into the hobby. I am still deeply into the nostalgia of this. So being able to get an autograph of a guy who I loved watching as a kid, this is incredible. Dexter Manley was the man.
I'm just like comping that Mahomes card while you do that, by the way.
Vestige Bo Jackson. Khalil Mullings. Oronde Gadsden II from Syracuse, now with the Chargers. And our guy Jack Sawyer, who had the strip sack in the Cotton Bowl on the way to the national title. What do we think, Ari? How are we doing on that? It's a Luminance Mahomes 1 of 1.
You need to just be careful with it.
I don't think I got many finger oils on it. So
Patrick Mahomes just recently started signing again. It's been a 3-year or 4-year gap since he's been signing again. And he's been in Panini 1 and some of the products that, have been coming out at the tail end of 2024, and you have 2025 product there.
Yep.
In Mahomes autos, it doesn't matter that they're like 5th year, 6-year cards. How many years has he been in the NFL now? 7?
Yeah.
Those cards are all like 4-figure, $4,000, $5,000 cards. So like, I'm not going to, your card isn't $5,000, but you might have a 4-figure card there. So,
let's go.
Yeah, that I was gonna show like my new receiver pickups, but now I'm like ashamed of myself. Like I thought,
well, I will have to send this off to get graded and make sure.
Just
I'll have to be very careful.
And while we're recording the pick show, while I'm on one of my diatribes, take a picture of it under the light and send it to the group, and then River can present it for the screen. Because you always rip packs, and most of the time when you're ripping packs, like you're not hitting major like value cards. Like if you hit one, we got to like.
Yeah, I'm trying not to touch it. That's the problem. So
I don't want to scare you. You can touch it. Just get it into a sleeve. Here's the 2 cards that I have of 2 receivers that I like. These are Fractal 2023 Panini 1 footballs that came encased patch autographs of Zay Flowers and Quentin Johnston. Quentin Johnston has a big game tonight. I think he's really good. People said he had the dropsies, but I invested in him quite a bit in the offseason, and I was pretty happy to see how he did in the first game of the season. And look at this, River. This is a 2024 Contenders Optic Joe Milton auto in a Patriots uniform, rookie card, red, number to 175. I just wanted to show you that because you're a Bazooka Joe guy.
I sent River a photo of the Mahomes card, so we'll take a look.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you right now, visit PaniniAmerica.net to start your collection, and maybe you can just have that experience that I had just now.
Dude, when you're hot, you're hot. Like, you're hot in the games, you're hot in ripping packs, you're hot.
Well, I checked with Brett McMurphy, so he's coming back on Wednesday to do more trivia. I do need to come back in that one because you beat me last time. So
yeah, I wish I would have lost by 1,000,000 because it ruined my life. But look at this. You're a nostalgic guy. That's a Roger Craig.
Oh, I love Roger Craig.
Legacies out of National Treasures patch auto.
I was watching the 49ers Saints game yesterday, and Kyle Juszczyk caught a ball, and I just saw the 44 jersey for the 49ers and thought, Tom Rathman.
The 49ers, when they had like T.O., had the best uniforms ever.
The 49ers have always had the best uniforms ever.
So I know this ad is going a little bit longer in the promotion of this. River, put that card. Yeah. Anytime you have a one-of-one of what people think is the greatest quarterback to ever play the game, you want to protect that. What kind of table is that? Is there like a crease in the wood there? Just get it off the table. I'm kidding.
It's off the table. It's not sitting atop a slab that contains a Jaden Daniels card.
Can we just pause the recording of this so you can tweet about like hitting this? This is like
I will tweet it after the show. Producer was like, we got 9,000 more picks to go through.
Okay, all right, let's go. This was
visit PaniniAmerica.net to start your collection day. All right, Ari. The game I will be attending on Saturday.
You hit a Puka Nacua Gold rookie last year out of a pretty premium product. That was a select, I think.
Yes.
And then now you have this.
Yes.
This is my thing. Why are you hitting 101 Mahomes on the show?
I don't know, but I'll take it.
Because here's the thing. One last thing. I'm sorry. This is my thing, and I get excited about it. Okay?
It's fine. It's fine.
Andy, the reality of it is, and I don't know if this is bad for our sponsor. But
don't say that.
No. Listen, it's important. When you rip cards, there is an inherent risk involved because if cards were easy to hit, they wouldn't be valuable, right?
Right.
So like ripping packs at times cannot be the most entertaining thing on an ad. So like when you actually hit something that people are dying for, naturally, that's a pretty awesome, like you couldn't have planned that better. And trust me, Panini isn't juicing the boxes because they send me boxes all the time.
No, the last pack I ripped, we didn't get anything we were particularly excited about.
And like, there's no better feeling. That feeling right there is like what I'm addicted to.
I'm pumped. I'd like to hear what this thing winds up being worth. And we'll do a little homework after the show. We got to keep making picks.
All right.
We have to talk about the game that I am going to this weekend. I will be in Norman, Oklahoma for Auburn at Oklahoma. This is a game, Ari, you and I have had circled all offseason because of just the stories around it. The whole idea of Jackson Arnold, who Oklahoma threw away like trash, coming back to Oklahoma with a squad, because Auburn this year ain't Auburn last year. But Oklahoma this year ain't Oklahoma last year either. John Mateer has been everything they hoped he would be. Ben Arbuckle has been everything they hoped he would be. The offensive line is better. Michael Fasusi is everything they'd hoped that he'd be when they signed him. It looks like he's going to play. He missed the Temple game with the ankle injury that he suffered against Michigan. I'm talking about their freshman left tackle, of course. But I think he's going to play. Ari, I am so excited about this game. Oklahoma is a 6.5-point favorite. I'm actually a little surprised it's that high, but it's tracking similarly to the line in the Oklahoma-Michigan game from a couple weeks ago.
You hit a one-on-one Mahomes. Which one of your children is your favorite?
Well, that depends on the day. We like Deion Sanders, I do have child power rankings, and that list is very fluid, and they know it. We keep them posted daily, and we keep them apprised of when they have a chance to move up. And if they're falling. So we never let them get too comfortable.
I don't know. I love them equally. They're my children. This is how I feel about this game because you and I have, we don't hear about our good takes. We only hear about the bad ones. We had good takes that both of these teams would be much better than people thought, right?
Right. I was very high on Auburn. You were very high on Oklahoma. We were both generally excited about what they could be. And
I'm going to stick with the spirit of that in this show because I want to reflect that. You and I both were high on both teams, but you were more high on Auburn and I was more high on Oklahoma. Yeah. So from the way that the line has moved, I believe it opened at 4.5. It's down. It's the 6.5. So I'm not getting the best number. We're going to find out, much like in the Utah-Texas Tech game, which team is for real and which team might have some more warts than we thought.
Now, the difference between that game and this game is both these teams have a really good out-of-conference win already.
That's right. But now we're in the SEC, and we're gonna start to figure out which team is actually poised to make a college football playoff run, and which team might be 1 year away. I am just going to go with the home team with the better quarterback. And I know that is a lot of points. I thought the spread would be more like 3.5. I think that the fact that it is a little bit larger makes me feel marginally more comfortable with the gap that Vegas sees between these two teams. And I think that Oklahoma gets it done at home and wins by a touchdown.
It's interesting because I think I thought of this game all offseason as a potential loser leaves town match between Brent Venables and Hugh Freeze, and it's not that. It's not that at all. There's no desperation for either team in this game. If a team goes into this game and loses by 2, there's no shame in it. It doesn't mean you're not going to go beat some other people. If Oklahoma lost this game by 2, Ari, would you be more or less confident in Oklahoma's ability to beat Texas?
I would be as confident, I think, in their.
I don't think I don't think it would change anything.
But I also think that you've been around the SEC a long time, and I know Oklahoma's a new member, but they still have the spirit of the teams that are in it. They would be vastly disappointed, and you would hear a lot of negative Venables talk still. I still think that he would be right back in the doghouse. I don't think
I think either one, Venables or Freeze, whoever loses this game, will be hyper criticized next week.
Here's the difference. I actually think, and maybe this is a column, I think that Hugh Freeze has less pressure in this game because Hugh Freeze's benchmark for success this year is not as high as Oklahoma's. Oklahoma expects.
Well, Hugh Freeze's schedule is not as hard as Oklahoma's, although they do obviously have some hard games.
Hugh Freeze made a mistake in the offseason in saying that if we make a bowl game, that's good. But I do think that 8 wins at Auburn is a job-saving season, and I think an 8-win season, I guess depending on what it looks like at Oklahoma, could have Brent Venables in a tougher situation. So
I think Oklahoma's fine with 8 wins because the schedule's so freaking hard.
Yeah.
But I also don't think I'm not sure either team is headed for that. I think both these teams are headed for better than that, though I will say, who does Auburn play next week? Texas A&M. So they've got to be very careful because this is a really tough 2-game stretch. You probably have to win one of these two if you want to make the playoff. And if you lose this one, that's an 8 ball to be behind going to Kyle Field.
Yeah.
So
I like what we've seen from Jackson Arnold. I like their receivers are productive. I like that
Eric Singleton got targeted a ton in the last game. He came out with a hip pointer. He hurt himself right at the end of the game against South Alabama. So I don't know. I mean, I'm assuming he's playing. I don't know if he's going to be completely effective.
Hope he's playing. If Auburn wins the game outright, not sure I would be surprised by that. If Oklahoma wins by 12, I don't think I'll be surprised by that. I'm going to go with the team that I said in my bold predictions would be a playoff contender because I think you need to win this game in order to do so. And I think that Oklahoma, it's crazy. I like Oklahoma's quarterback better, but I also know that Jackson Arnold might have something more in the tank. I think Oklahoma's defense is nasty as hell. And if Jackson Arnold and his team is going to cover the spread or win this game, you're going to have to show something today that maybe you haven't been put in a position to have to show yet. And I just, between Oklahoma's defense and their quarterback, I think they're a touchdown better still.
So the question here is what will Jackson Arnold do in this situation? And this is Jackson Arnold's chance to prove, obviously, that he is better than what he showed in Norman last year, that it shouldn't have happened the way it happened. And the thing is, like, nobody at Oklahoma is going to say we shouldn't have changed quarterbacks because they are going to be thrilled with John Mateer. And I feel very comfortable saying that. Like, they're going to be thrilled with John Mateer. The rest of the season is going to go, and they're going to be glad they have John Mateer. But I do think they might come away saying we shouldn't have been so mean to Jackson Arnold because he's actually pretty good. And maybe he was in the worst possible situation last year with an offensive coordinator who was not, he kind of lost his fastball as a play caller, with an offensive line that wasn't very good, with receivers that all got hurt. Like, all of that stuff, it matters.
Yeah.
So I am, it's hard to pick
These are
this
hard
one.
games this week.
I do think, Ari, that if you're going to give me 6.5 points, I'm going to take them.
Okay.
Give me Auburn to cover here. I'm not supremely confident in Auburn. Like, I'm not going to go Auburn money line. I'm not that confident. But if you're going to give me that many points in a game that I think should probably be about a 3-point spread, I'll take the dog.
Yeah. And it did open at 4.5 and got bet up to 6.5. So we'll see what the line is later on in the week. But
maybe I'm completely wrong that Oklahoma defense is just incredibly nasty. When Fasusi's playing, their line is unstoppable. It may be that Oklahoma is the next big thing.
Yeah, I doubt that Auburn is going to be able to push Oklahoma around the way they pushed Baylor around. And then that's going to put some pressure on Jackson Arnold on the road in a stadium that he struggled with an entire crowd charged to root against him. I think that there's a lot there for him to overcome. I think he can overcome it. I like both of these teams, but I like too that we both picked on like the side that we were more confident in the offseason.
Yeah, because it's like I think we both aren't sure who's going to win this game, but we have a lean. Your lean is toward Oklahoma. My lean is toward Auburn. And I think that works. So, I'll take Auburn to cover. You got Oklahoma to cover.
Yep.
I can't wait. I'll see you guys in Norman. Ari, let us move to a big game with potential CFP implications, probably for both teams, but definitely for one of them, definitely for the visitor. Tulane at Ole Miss. This is now an 11.5-point spread. Ole Miss favored by 11.5. Tulane's 3-0. And they've beaten Northwestern and Duke, so 2 wins against power conference teams already. Ole Miss, also 3-0. Tough one against Kentucky. Tough one, probably tougher than they thought against Arkansas, but again, they were playing a backup quarterback. This was a fascinating situation because Trinidad Chambliss came in and did a great job, but also hurt his hand in the middle of the game. So Austin Simmons, the starter who had an injured ankle, comes in, and it was clear how hobbled he was. But he still came in and threw a touchdown pass.
Yeah. And then Chambliss came back in, right?
Yes, he did, and was great the rest of the way.
Tulane looked pretty good on Saturday.
Tulane was pretty dominant against Duke. And so here's what I'm thinking is going to happen. I think that this Tulane offense led by Jake Retzlaff is going to have a day against the Ole Miss defense because so far everybody who's played the Ole Miss defense has looked better than you thought they would. Mm-hmm. So I think they're going to score some points. Are they going to be able to stop Ole Miss enough to win the game? I don't know about that. But if you're going to give me 11.5 points, I'll take those points.
Yeah, I think that if you look at the actual psychology of this whole thing, which is Tulane is unbeaten. They've got Jake Retzlaff. They just beat the crap out of Duke. They look really good. The actual thought process and the lean that you would have just from a emotional standpoint would be wow, 11.5 is a lot of points. I really, really like Tulane here. And I'm going to go against that. And maybe I'm just part of the reason why I'm having such a tough few weeks is because I'm overthinking these things a little bit. But Ole Miss to me is a team that I feel has not played a good game yet. And I don't know if that's because Ole Miss that's who they are defensively, or if that they've been kind of, they got sucked into the Lexington matrix and they were suffering a few injuries and they just haven't played sharp football. But I think Ole Miss is going to score a lot. I think.
The other thing is that maybe that Arkansas's offense is just awesome and does that to everybody. We don't know, but it does seem to me like Ole Miss's defense is going to give up some points. So maybe that gets fixed and they just blow the doors off Tulane. But I think Tulane's going to score some. So
yeah, I think this game's more of like a 42-27 type game, probably, if I had to guess.
Right, and, which would be an Ole Miss cover.
That's what I'm going to pick. I'm going to pick that.
All right. Ari's got Ole Miss. I've got Tulane. Now, we head to Lincoln, Nebraska. But you know who doesn't head to Lincoln, Nebraska? Sharon Moore. Michigan at Nebraska. Michigan's a 2.5-point favorite on the road. So here's the situation. This is how the suspensions work now. We talked a little bit about this earlier in our early game preview, but in case you didn't hear that. So back in 2023, when Jim Harbaugh was suspended for 6 different games, he was allowed to coach at practice the entire week and then just had to miss the game. Sharon Moore suspended for the Central Michigan game and the Nebraska game. Sharon Moore got to coach at practice the week of the Central Michigan game. His suspension began that day. So at midnight on this past Saturday, September 13th, Sharon Moore's suspension began. It runs through 11:59 and 59 seconds of this Saturday, September 20th. So he's not allowed around the team at all this week. So he is not helping them prep for Nebraska at all. Biff Poggi is their interim coach. Biff Poggi said after the game on Saturday that essentially he is Sharon Moore's caddy. Sharon Moore is Tiger Woods. And Biff Poggi is going to make sure the clubs that Sharon Moore wants played get played. That said, we've not seen this before. A big game involving 2 major schools where one of the coaches is just out for the entire week. And I find this very interesting, Ari.
What do you think he's going to do this week? Would you, if you were a coach, would you
go insane? That's what I think he's going to do this week.
I'd go to get an Airbnb in Bermuda and just lay by the beach for a while.
I don't think he can do that.
Why?
I don't think Michigan would appreciate that.
Why?
I think they want him in town just in case there's some crazy stuff that goes.
If crazy stuff goes on, he's not allowed to be around the team. I don't understand.
They still want to be close by.
If On3 was hey, Ari, you're suspended for a week and you can't look at our website and you can't be around our website and you can't write or talk into a microphone, I would go to Vegas and just lay by the pool for a week. Although people probably don't, celebrate. Andy, going back to the Tiger Woods thing, because I think it's interesting. Caddies are actually really good at golf when they play, right? How do you do the Tiger Woods?
They're better than us at golf, but not as good as the guys that they caddy for.
Yeah, yes. If you're his caddy, but Tiger Woods is still swinging the club and he's there. Tiger Woods isn't going to the course that day. So and you can't always, it's anticipating the lie. Yeah. If he's not there to tell you what club to use, that's the thing that's interesting to me. The club selection is dependent on the lie of the ball.
But here's the thing in the football coaching context where I think Michigan is in a little bit better situation than maybe some other schools would be, just because of the way their coaching staff works. So Chip Lindsey's the offensive coordinator. Chip Lindsey's been a head coach before. Mm-hmm. Chip Lindsey was the head coach at Troy. So he can help shoulder some of that burden as well. Wink Martindale has been around forever. He's been an NFL defensive coordinator for years. He's seen almost everything. So those two are not going to be intimidated by this situation whatsoever. It's not going to bother them.
The caddy thing is a bad analogy because you don't know what situations you're going to be in.
Hey, Biff Poggi ran a hedge fund. He wasn't a professional analogist.
I actually think that he should have gone with a hedge fund analogy. That would have been a better analogy. Yeah, Michigan, I'm not even making a joke. Don't take this as a jab. They've had a lot of practice at this. Being they have been out of sorts a lot on game day the last few years. And I know that personnel and coaches have changed since that happened, but it's not like this is the first time they're encountering it. It might be the first time they don't have their coach in practice, but they've had to make things. Sharon Moore is the head coach there because he stepped in well because of a suspension. So I just don't know how many points you think that's worth.
Well, and that's the thing. I thought even if Sharon Moore was coaching, that this was a pick 'em. So you're giving me points in a game I thought would have been a pick 'em even if he'd been there. It's still on the road. And again, we don't know what Nebraska is yet. We saw Nebraska against what we think is a pretty okay Cincinnati team. They did struggle a little bit with the Godfather, Dante Corleone. Michigan's going to have some dudes up the middle. But I'm not sure Michigan is as good on the lines of scrimmage this year as we're used to seeing from them. I think Oklahoma made their defensive line look not great. I think their offensive line really struggled against Oklahoma. And obviously they've got some injuries there. So I think this may be, and again, we talked about this with Nebraska. We talked last week when the Matt Rule halftime speech from the Akron game came out. Like, okay, you can win the games you're supposed to win now. That was step one. That was the thing that Nebraska struggled with mightily throughout the Mike Riley era, throughout the Scott Frost era. It seems like they got that part turned around. Step two, win the toss-up games. This is a toss-up game. This is a less than 3-point spread. Win the toss-up games.
9 wins.
This is the kind of game you got to win.
9-win seasons are predicated on winning these games.
Yes. So you win your toss-up games this year with this schedule. You are looking at maybe being a 9-win team, maybe even being a playoff contender in November.
Yes. Okay. I don't know if it's just my mentions because Nebraska and I are familiar with each other, but a lot of chest puffing the last few weeks out of Nebraska people, and they're excited and they're pumped. A lot of Dylan Raiola is not getting enough respect. Hearing a lot of that in the chat.
Well, you don't get it beating Houston Christian. You get it beating Michigan.
So you want the respect that you think he's entitled to now? Go do it this weekend. Trust me. And this is a promise. Andy and I will be waiting with you on Saturday night with smiles on our face to talk about how awesome Dylan Raiola was if he is awesome against Michigan on Saturday night or Saturday afternoon. Before we crown, hey, you guys are idiots. You don't know anything about the quarterback position, and you do have plenty of evidence that shows that we don't. But
an abundance of evidence that we know nothing about quarterbacks.
If he is who you say he is, and we are haters and, all those go show me this weekend. I would love to see it.
And here's the thing. If he does show you, this is one of those weekends that they may look back on years from now and say, this is where it turned.
This was this is the transition. Yeah. And this is what they wanted when he signed. This is what you get when you sign.
And I go back to something that Dylan Raiola said at Big Ten Media Days about how special would it be? How cool would it be if we're the ones who turn it? We're the ones who bring Nebraska back. This is how you do that. You win games like this. Like, I don't care. I'm not saying you got to go out and beat Ohio State. You need to be able to win games like this and then work your way to beating Ohio State, which you can do.
Nebraska
win games like this first.
When Dylan Raiola committed to Nebraska, I wrote a column. We were at the Athletic at the time. Were you there? Yeah, I think you were.
Yeah.
We were at a.
No, I wasn't. I was gone.
I made a frown face for people who weren't watching the video. My friend left me behind, and then he came and rescued me like one of the lifeboats on the Titanic. But like we were at a summit, a work summit, and I was in downtown Chicago with all my coworkers at the Athletic. And when Dylan Raiola committed to Nebraska, I was at Portillo's, and I ran from Portillo's to my hotel room and wrote a column about why committing to Nebraska is special. I think it even ran in the New York Times. And the premise of the question of the column was, a 5-star quarterback could have gone to Ohio State and gone to Georgia and been very good and been the next one in line for being the guy at those places who have guys every year. Or he could go to a place that is near and dear to his family. He could be responsible for the turnaround, and he could accomplish something that never was even a possibility at those other places because they don't need to be saved. And I thought that was awesome. I thought it was a cool decision, and I thought it was great for college football. And the fact that we've talked about Nebraska as much as we have in the time since is a testament to that decision. if it's going to turn, Saturday is when it turns. So we'll see. We'll see if they do it. But
all right, who you got? I
don't think Michigan's that good this year. I think that they're a year away. I think Nebraska has a chance to be good this year. I'll take points.
I also will take Nebraska to cover, and I appreciate the 2.5 points because I would have taken them without the 2.5 points.
Yeah, well then take a money line.
Nah.
That's how I catch up because there was
a nice comfortable lead against you. I'm not going to just start
because I'm 1-8 last week. I should be if I would have taken the if I would have taken the points, I would have been 2-7. That would have been better. But I put my beanbag on the table, and you're just not willing to do it. I guess. Okay,
it's not.
You know what? Nebraska money line.
Whoa! There it is.
I think they're going to win. I think he's good. I think they're. I still stand by what I said about like whether he'd be sensational. But there's not a lot of people who are sensational. I still think he's very good. He's off to a great start this year. I don't think that Michigan has the defensive line that they've had in the past. I don't think that their offense is functional quite yet. And I think Nebraska is a more complete team at home. I'll take them to win.
Yeah, Nebraska plus 115. So not like the
it wasn't like a
money line. It's a 2.5 point spread. But
listen,
yes.
when
I like it. Say it with your chest.
When Tennessee was beating the crap out of Georgia on Saturday in the first quarter, I was running around my house. Tarp was off. I'm like, I told these guys, I knew this was going to happen. I had real money on it. I was like, this is it, man. They were going to do it, and I'm going to look really good on Monday. Goddamn field goal kickers.
Yeah, when Georgia took the lead in that game in the third quarter, I just texted Arian Riverd and said Kirby is daddy. So I then felt really bad about that about 5 minutes later. All right, let us go. Well, we'd be going to Columbia either way. But in this particular case, we're going to Columbia, Missouri. South Carolina at Missouri. Missouri is a 13.5 point favorite. This is Vegas saying we do not think
Lenora
Sellers is going to play in this game.
Yeah, I mean, concussion stuff. I don't know. You actually just went through it. You tell me, what's concussion protocol look like for a player?
So the bare minimum is 7 days to get back. So if you have any sort of symptoms day 2, you're not getting back in 7 days. And what you have to, when you feel symptom free, that's when you tell them, and then they start working you back in, and that process takes 5 to 6 days. So that's the clock was ticking, basically on Saturday night.
Even if he was symptom free Sunday morning, he's not practicing this week.
He could if he was symptom free Sunday morning, he could actually probably get back for the game. But you might not. He wouldn't have a full week of practice, and quarterbacks. No. You wouldn't start. You wouldn't have like a full. Now quarterbacks are not live at practice anyway.
Yeah.
So the version of what he can do at practice, you could probably start doing Tuesday or Wednesday, and that's the best case scenario. So you're not going to get because remember in college football by Thursday the hay's pretty much in the barn. You're practicing in shells on Thursday, kind of going through what you've already installed. And then Friday's a walkthrough. So it's going to be tough. And again, this line is telling us what they think is going to happen. They think Sellers isn't playing. We saw Luke Doty come in. That was not inspiring. The South Carolina fans on the message board were like, where's Aaron Noland?
Where was he?
On the sidelines.
I know. I would have liked to see him play. 5-star.
Well, Shane Beamer did say they might take a look at some things. The criticism in South Carolina is most squarely on offensive coordinator Mike Shula's shoulders. That's where everybody seems to be upset, and the person they're directing most of their anger at. But here's the thing. We saw Vandy dominate them after Sellers went out, but I think Vandy was kind of dominating them when Sellers was playing.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would have been closer had Sellers not gotten knocked out. But I don't think South Carolina would have won that game. The way Missouri's playing this year, if there's no Sellers, I like Mizzou, even with all these points, because Missouri has been outstanding so far this year. Bro Pribula is excellent. And,
we need to have the Bo Pribula. You want to have it?
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm afraid, but I'm going to do it because I like.
I know what you're going to say, so just say it.
Okay. Is Penn State worse off?
Now, the Missouri fans who are watching this going, well, you just pick us or pick South Carolina? They don't care if Penn State fans feel worse off or better off. But I'm sure there's a few Penn State fans watching this too. I'm sure they're asking that question.
Is this Will Levis all over again?
It could be. It very well could be. And the thing is, now Prabula was allowed to do more at Penn State than Will Levis was. Prabula had to come in some situations like the Wisconsin game last year where it wasn't just you're the running quarterback, here's the package. It was no, here, come in and run the offense. And I thought he did a good job with it. But now you're seeing him in command of his own offense, and he's electrifying.
Yeah, if this Bo Prabula is what we've been seeing all year, like that's who he is, like Drew Aller would probably still be a better NFL prospect because of his size and nature and arm strength. But frick, man, like a slippery running quarterback.
Who looks more like Trace McSorley? It would be the question I'd ask. And it's Bo Prabula.
Like an insult. It's not even an insult to Drew Aller. It's like, would you take Trace McSorley right now if you were Penn State with that?
Of course
team?
you would. Of course,
because he's just and like that's the thing that like I was like thinking back about with our best quarterback board. Like I like had a quarterback board that everyone's making fun of that basically mirrored the way that the NFL draft big board would look like, and like that's not the right way of looking at it, man. College football players like Haynes King probably isn't going to be a 10-year NFL starter, but you're telling me that's not a quarterback you'd want leading your team? Diego Pavia, maybe?
Diego Pavia.
Like, doesn't Bo Prabula remind you of like Haynes King and Diego Pavia in the sense of like, hey, this guy is just a freaking dude in college? Like, I don't know. But what I do know is 14 points or 13.5 points is a lot of points, bro. Like,
it is.
Oh my God. I think Missouri's going to win, but I'm going to lay 13.5.
Prabula, the way he can move, because we saw this with Kyron Jones against South Carolina, where Kyron Jones probably playing in that offense would have been beaten up a lot more by Dylan Stewart and company if he couldn't move as well as he did. Prabula moves really well, and also you got to worry about Ahmad Hardy if you're defending Missouri.
Was he like
Ahmad Hardy is averaging 8.1 yards a carry.
I was watching the game cast of their game. It was like 19-yard run, 27-yard run, 13-yard run. Every run was like Yeah, I don't know. This is an SEC game. It's in the wrong Columbia. I'm taking 13.5. It's too many.
There's nothing wrong with Columbia, Missouri. It's a wonderful town.
No, they're both Columbia.
I say that as someone who's born in Columbia, South Carolina.
I meant the wrong Columbia for my pick, not the wrong Columbia.
Gotcha.
I'm going to take 13.5 and just like close my eyes and hope for the best.
Wow. But that's what you're doing. If Lenore Sellers doesn't play, you are closing your eyes and hoping for the best. And
I do wonder, too, if there's a difference between backup quarterback that goes into the game if an injury happens and backup quarterback that you prepare for all week.
Well, and that's the question. And is Doty that person? Is somebody else that person? Doty looked like the guy you put in if you lose your guy for a game.
I got to say.
Because remember, Doty was a quarterback initially. It was actually a blue chip recruit. But he had changed positions. Like, he's back there now, but is he the guy you go with if Sellers is out for an extended period of time? Now, if it's a concussion, you're expecting Sellers back. Like he might miss this game, but you expect him back. So that's the question. Who do you prepare at that point?
Yeah. Cade Klubnik, Arch Manning, DJ Lagway, and now Lenore Sellers. Now, Sellers didn't play poorly. He's just. I was
going to say, Sellers didn't stink. He got hurt.
No, I'm saying, like, in terms of the four dudes, and even Garrett Nussmeier to a certain extent, like, the quarterback perceptions and what we get to watch on Saturday are either you stink or you're injured, and that sucks.
But it allows for people like Bo Prabula to come in and become stars.
Yeah, like, you know what would be a really funny bit? And I don't know if we should do this week, but it occurred to me on Saturday, and I never told you this. would be if you and I did the re-ranking of the best 10 quarterbacks in the country on a show.
Well, I was thinking about that too, because that graphic from April has really made the rounds in the last few days. And
Andy,
look,
but
I got to wear it. I put it out there. It's my fault.
But do you put Bo Prabula in the list? If you could redo the list right now, does Bo Prabula go on it?
Can I watch this game first?
No, let's do it this week. Let's be wrong again.
Yeah, let's watch this game first. All right, Ari. You're taking South Carolina because I am with you. That is a ton of points. But I'm not with you on this pick. This is BetMGM telling us they don't think Lenore Sellers is going to play. If Lenore Sellers isn't playing, I will take Missouri to cover the 13.5.
We'll see.
We'll find out. We will find out. Oh, man, what a week this is. What a week. This is these. We have many more games.
We do?
Yeah.
I didn't know how far along we were. We haven't even done
quite a few.
Miami yet. Yeah.
So now we head down to lovely Miami Gardens, Florida. And yes, I'm a stickler for geography. I'm not going to say anything about South Beach because where the Canes play is nowhere near South Beach. So Florida at Miami. I was a little surprised when this number came out on Sunday, Ari. Miami is a 7.5 point favorite in this game. They are favored by fewer points than LSU was against Florida last week. And having watched both of those teams this season, I would think Miami's better than LSU. So I was a little surprised that this number was only 7.5.
Miami has a really good functional quarterback. They have receivers who get open. They have maybe one of the 2 or 3 best offensive lines in college football. They have a running back group that is very, very good, and they have one of the best defensive game records in the country. And all of their defensive backs that they got in the portal to fix their putrid defense a year ago hit.
Yeah. So why is it 7.5?
Really good. They're really good. And I know we're going to make a graphic of who we pick and Miami fans. And give me Florida, dude.
Really?
Fading what? Because the answer to the obvious isn't what happens ever. It's just not. It just doesn't what happens.
But sometimes it is. And that's why I picked LSU to cover last week. Because everything in my bones told me that this is the week that Florida plays a better game, that they keep it tight, they play them tough. And guess what? Most of Florida's players did keep it tight and play them tough. But Florida's most important player threw 5 interceptions. Florida's defense was good in that game. But here's the thing. They're going to play an offense that's better than the one they played last week. LSU could not run the ball until the last series of the game. They hit a 51-yard run. So it made the stats look better. Miami will be able to consistently run the ball. And remember, Florida's best defensive lineman, Caleb Banks, he came back for the LSU game. He went out during the fourth quarter of the LSU game. He's not going to be back. In fact, he may never be back at Florida because this may knock him out. So I think Miami is going to be able to run the ball and control the clock and take possessions away from Florida. So that makes the ball more precious. Don't throw picks. Do I think DJ Lagway is going to throw 5 picks again? I don't.
I don't either.
Will he throw 2? I think that's possible. And the problem is, if Miami's sucking possessions out of the game, 2 might be enough to cripple you.
I think Miami is immeasurably better. I do. You're convincing me of stuff that I agree with.
No, but I get it because I was here last week. I said this. I think Florida. I said last week. I think Florida wins one of these because they're not that bad.
I don't think that Florida is going to win. I don't think
you think they'll just keep it close.
I think that it's an in-state battle, and they've got a pulse enough to keep the game close.
They haven't quit. I will say that they've not quit.
Everyone's going to play the transitive property game. Miami beat the crap out of the team that beat Florida on the road. Miami's beating the crap out of Notre Dame.
See, I'm not doing that with the USF thing. Like, I'm not doing the transitive property thing here. All I'm doing is evaluating this position group by position group. What's the other problem Florida's had? They keep getting touchdowns called back because of penalties.
Yeah.
And what was their biggest?
If they weren't holding on that 73-yard touchdown pass, they cover easily and maybe win, by the way.
There you go.
Yeah.
Here's the problem.
They keep happening.
You know what you got to do to Reuben Bain to stop him?
Hold him.
Mm-hmm. So if they get a crew that doesn't call a lot of holding, maybe they're okay. But if they get a crew that calls holding when they see it, they may have some problems.
Yeah. I mean, I've faded Miami every week and have been wrong every week. And I don't want
I've picked Miami every week and been right every week.
Yeah. And I don't want it to be viewed as a trend because I put Miami 3 in my poll, dude. Like, I think Miami is awesome. Like, if Florida is ever going to show that it is not a joke, this is the week, right?
Well, and that is why, because it's interesting. We talked before the UCLA and Virginia Tech firings about when some of this stuff might start coming down. And we said, well, it's probably going to be closer to the end of the season because the transfer portal opens. Guys who haven't redshirted are going to instantly enter the portal because they want to redshirt this season. It's a dangerous precedent to set. Well, now the seal's been broken by 2 teams. Florida has an open week next week, and then Texas comes to town. If Miami blows their doors off, that may be it. That may be it. Because at that point, I think you have reached the point of no return.
Florida has not had their doors blown off yet.
They have not. They have not. Now, ultimately, when it happens, we didn't get our doors blown off will not be the excuse that saves anybody.
No, I'm just talking about who you picked today.
Correct. But they did lose by 10 last week.
They did.
So
I'm encouraged by how much they lost to on the road in a much tougher environment. Now, I think Miami will probably be a tough environment. People are fired up. But
remember, a lot of the people who live in South Florida are Florida fans. So there will be a lot of Florida fans in the building.
Touchdown called back, 80-yard touchdown called back with a hold, 5 interceptions, lose by 10 to LSU on the road.
Remember, we also saw these 2 teams play.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Miami's changed quite a bit, but you know where Miami hasn't changed much?
The line of scrimmage.
The line of scrimmage. They dominated these same
Florida
people.
has changed a lot on the line of scrimmage since that game, though.
They have not.
No, I mean, they're
all the same people.
Better. Those people played so much better than they did in that game.
Have they? This season?
No, not this season, but like last year.
They did last season.
Yeah,
at the end of last season.
Miami wouldn't have beaten them that way if they played in week 9. I don't think.
No. But the Florida team that played USF will get drilled by Miami. Mm-hmm. Like if on the line of scrimmage they play the way they did against USF, this will be a 21-point game. If they play the way against LSU, they got a shot.
This is so painful, dude. I know who's better.
I understand. We talked about this at the top of the show. You were talking about ideas versus results. I get your idea here. I understand your idea. And your idea is, and I agree, Florida is not going to quit. They have not quit yet. So that you think they're going to play tough.
Miami is better and Florida could quit. Sustaining the
I don't think they're going to quit. I really don't. But I also think it's possible that Miami's just that much better.
Yeah. Miami could be the best team in the country this year.
It's possible. It's possible. So Ari, you have Florida and the points. I'm taking the Canes to cover.
It's going to be such I hate this. I hate
No,
this.
you do.
I hate it.
Are you doing this just to be opposite me? Is that the only reason?
I picked before you.
Okay. All right. I was planning on this all along, though. You know, because you've talked to me over the last 3 days. You know where I'm at on my alma mater here.
I also know that the second you're out is usually when Florida starts being good again.
That's true. That happened last year. That did happen last year. So I'm also very bad at this.
You know what, though? If we're on
Keep that in mind.
I think that the most likely outcome is we're both going to be like 5-5.
It's possible, but
it's like I feel like you are taking public plays.
Well,
like, it's going to be a very public play. Everyone's going to bet on Miami.
But I understand the reasons why everybody would pick Florida. This is one where I feel like, having seen under the hood quite a bit, I'm not confident in them to play a competent enough game or call a competent enough game to be that close. That's the disconnect right there. So you have the Gators. I got the Canes. Let's go to Waco. This may be the best quarterback duel we've seen so far this season. Sam Leavitt versus Sawyer Robertson, Arizona State against Baylor. 2.5-point spread. Baylor's favored at home. Again, Big 12. No idea what's going to happen. But I want to watch this game just because it's going to be electrifying. We're going to see a lot of touchdown passes.
Yeah, I think that it's interesting that the Big 12 schedule has kind of shown itself to be quite entertaining for week one. I know that Baylor lost at home to Auburn, but that doesn't have any impact, obviously, in what happens in the Big 12, and this is a monumental game. These are all matchups between teams that we could conceivably think, is competing for this title at the end of the year. And this is another coin flip game, and it's in Waco. Arizona State, obviously took its lumps earlier in the year. They have a loss too. This is a very difficult game. Where's your thought process on this? And by the way, we both had Sam Leavitt on our quarterback lists of best quarterbacks in the country. I know we're not redoing the lists even as much as I want to. Would you rank Sawyer Robertson at this point higher based on production this year?
Can I watch this game first? I hate to say that.
We're giving a pick.
No, I actually would have Sawyer Robertson ahead of almost everybody.
Yeah.
He's been outstanding. And it'll be interesting, because we'll get to see Auburn's defense against John Mateer this week. Was that because Auburn's defense was kind of porous, or was that because Sawyer Robertson just sliced him up?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. And got some good receivers in this game. Josh Cameron for Baylor, Jordan Tyson for Arizona State. I mean, this is fireworks city. And I have no clue what's going to happen because I think it's going to be high scoring. 59.5 is your total. I would go over that. But I'm going to take the Bears. And I'll tell you, this is a dumb reason, I think. Maybe it's not. It felt like Arizona State had kind of the breaks went their way last year. And those things tend to even out over time.
Yeah. Yeah. So the thing that is crazy to me is I cannot get the Auburn game out of my head. I don't know if Arizona State can do what Auburn did.
We saw Arizona State in the second half of the Mississippi State game. They did commit to running the ball and really ran it down Mississippi State's throat. That's how they got back in the game. They were down. It looked like they were out, and they wind up taking the lead. And then, of course, they have the defensive lapse at the very end. But they did commit to running the ball, and they were moving. If they come into the plan to just do that the entire game, I think there's a couple of things that can help them there. I think, one, they should be able to do that against Baylor. But two, you keep the ball out of Sawyer Robertson's hands in a little more regular interval. And I think that that would be my strategy. And if all of a sudden Baylor loads the box and you can't do anything, then you just turn Sam Leavitt loose. But I don't know if they can run the ball as well as Auburn did.
Yeah. Yeah. It's another coin flip game. I'm not sure here. I'm going to go with Arizona State just to try to create some separation. Listen, you've been doing really, really well. And I've gambled enough to know in my life that sometimes you're the bug. And
it all comes back around.
Yeah. It's all going to come crashing down on you. I'm going to take Arizona State. I think that Arizona State has a really, really good 1-2 punch, obviously, at the quarterback receiver do it with Leavitt and Dyson. I think that they should be able to run the ball enough. I'm not confident in Baylor's defense. Sawyer Robertson scares the crap out of me. But I'll take the 2.5 and hope that, it comes down to 2-point conversions in overtime.
It's entirely possible it might. So yeah, I'll take Baylor. Ari will take Arizona State. One more. Let's head back to the Big Ten.
Marathon.
And this is a game that could determine a playoff spot. Like, we could look back at the end of the season and say this is a result that decided a playoff spot. Illinois at Indiana. Indiana is a 4.5-point favorite. So here is where the line makers at BetMGM and the people who vote in the polls differ dramatically, because Illinois is number 9 because we made them the trendy preseason team. We assumed Indiana would just drop off after that really good year, but I don't think people took into account how much Indiana was bringing back off that roster last year. I know Vegas did, and that is why Indiana's a favorite here. Yeah.
Indiana has scored 56 and 73 points in their last 2 games. Indiana State, woo! That was a close game.
Larry Bird was not walking through that door.
This is one of the games of the year for the Big Ten, and I don't think people are giving it the credit that it deserves. This could very well be the big noon game if people knew ball, and I know that the big noon game is also very entertaining, but this is, to me, this is a very important
This is a game that you and I have been circling all off season. Like, when we had Brett Bielema on, remember we were in Atlanta covering the national title game, and we had Brett Bielema on the show. And this was the game when we looked at his schedule, we were like, that's the one they got to win.
Brett, yeah, who's this year's Indiana? Is it Indiana or Illinois? I don't know. Yeah. Indiana is very good, and Illinois is very good. I have Illinois in my top 10 because I see a team that returned a lot, and I think that you are right in that Indiana also did. I've seen Illinois beat a pretty good power team already.
We don't know if Duke's pretty good.
Yeah, I'll take that win over any of Indiana's wins.
Oh, well, 100%. 100%.
I've seen it with my eyes. I like Luke Altmaier. I mean, I like a lot about Indiana too. These are very difficult games this week. They are. Not the best slate of games. If you're
and this is where we point out that the way we do this show is we just pick the games that we know everybody wants to talk about. And we know not all of you care about the gambling piece of it. You just want to know who's going to win the game. So we want to give you a discussion of the games you want to talk about and give our best guess at what we think is going to happen in those games, whether you want to pick, against the spread or not. Later in the week, we have some folks on who are going to give you the sharpest picks. This is a game that I think most people would just stay away from, because it is very difficult to predict.
I don't know that I bet a ton, but I don't bet a lot of the games that we pick because it's for entertainment purposes. But I'm leaning Illinois here, Andy. I think there was a moment at the end of the Duke game when Illinois beat the crap out of them where they zoomed in on Brett Bielema's face and he had that patented Brett Bielema smirk.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like he just knows he has it this year. I don't know.
Well, the thing is, Brett Bielema and Kurt Cignetti are way more similar.
Yeah.
Than I think anybody wants to admit. They both know when they've got a team, and they're both not afraid to really unleash hell on somebody when they have a team. So the thing we need to figure out, and I think we should know within the first quarter what's going to happen here. So against the ham sandwiches that Indiana has been playing so far this season, they're averaging 6.9 yards a carry. If they're throwing 5 yards a carry up on Illinois right out of the gate, Indiana's going to win this game. They're going to control this game. Mm-hmm. Fernando Mendoza, we talk about him, but it's really that offensive line, those backs. So Keelan Black is averaging 6.4 yards a carry. Lee Beebe's averaging 7.7 yards a carry. The freshman Kobe Martin, 8.6 yards a carry. And then Roman Hemby, who played a lot last year, is at is backing it up at 5.6 yards a carry. So if Indiana is controlling the ball on the ground, Indiana will win this game because it will put Illinois in a desperation situation where they can't, Luke Altmaier is going to have to be Superman, and then Indiana's probably going to do some things to make him make some mistakes. If Illinois is stuffing Indiana and making Fernando Mendoza throw to beat them, now we got a game. Now we see what happens.
Yeah. So where are you leaning?
I think I like those points. I think I like the Illini.
I like the Illini too. And I don't know if we're just like we're trying to. It's like confirmation bias of like, what do you think is going to happen? Where do we have them ranked? What do we think was going to happen this year? And then you just get hit in the face with it. But
here's the thing: like if Indiana comes out and just steamrolls them, or even if they just control the game, and let's say that they win a 21-14 game, I might not pick against Indiana in most of their games the rest of the season. I might say, what, this is going to be the same team as last year.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, this is like a find out Saturday, I think.
Yeah. I think Illinois can be an equally dynamic version of that, of what Indiana was last year. So I like Luke Altmaier a lot. I go back to the Duke game where Duke was really in his face a bunch early in that game. And he could have really put them in a hole with some negative plays if he'd freaked out. But he was very calm. It was like he'd been through this before, which he has. And he guided them through that. And then the defense started turning Duke over, and then that was that. But I do think Luke Altmaier is a differentiator here. We'll see about Fernando Mendoza because we haven't gotten a chance to see him with Indiana playing against good competition yet. So we'll find out. Fernando Mendoza, remember, was at Cal last year, was pretty good. Georgia wanted him, but he wasn't sure what was going to happen with Gunnar Stockton. The starting job wasn't necessarily his if he wanted it. He goes to Indiana where the starting job is his to replace Curtis Rourke. We don't know what he's going to be yet. He could be really good too, but we do know that Luke Altmaier is good in these games.
Yep. We have a great slate on Saturday.
I cannot wait. And again, this one, the loser's not out of it, obviously, but Producer River, can we throw up Indiana's schedule and Illinois' schedule? So here's Indiana's schedule. It gets hard after this. They've got at Iowa, at Oregon. So if you lose this one, things can slip out of control pretty quickly if you're not careful. They also have to go to Penn State later in the year. So if they want to go back to the playoff, they probably got to win this one. Let's look at Illinois' schedule. So they get USC after this at home, which is no easy feat. USC is really good this year. They've got to play Ohio State. They've got to play at Washington. So again, they've probably got to win this one if they want to make the playoff.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I love. I mean, look at this. You cannot beat the stakes of this thing. Can't beat it.
It is a quasi playoff game in mid-September, which is great. I thought we didn't get those anymore. We kind of do. All
right. So Ari, you're taking Illinois to cover. I am taking Illinois to cover. Kurt Signetti will come on and laugh at us if we're wrong. Kurt Signetti is going to love this. He hates it when we're like, Indiana is going to kick the crap out of this team. He wants us to doubt him. But so does Brett Bielema.
Video season. I'm happy to help.
Yeah, we're going to be on Indiana's hype video for sure. We won't be on Illinois, but that's okay. I'm sure somebody's going to pick against them too. But this is going to be such a fun week. The truth of it is, we don't know what's going to happen in a lot of these games. They are very unpredictable. And that is the best kind of weekend. Cannot wait. We'll talk to you tomorrow.